Chapter 1. The Blood of the Lamb. They think I run from the axe. They think the last Plantagenet has finally broken, a 67-year-old grandmother reduced to a frantic animal, weaving through the cold stones of East Smithfield Green. Let them think it. Let the ambassadors write of my shameful end. They do not see the rebels wink behind the executioner's mask. They do not know the warm weight against my ribs is not my own blood, but that of a slaughtered ewe hidden in bladders beneath my shift. Every botched strike is a symphony. The boy with the axe, the blundering youth they'll call him, hits the iron gorget beneath my hood with a satisfying clang that the crowd mistakes for bone. I scream, not in pain, but in a fury that has been building since 1499. I run because I am a ghost before I am even dead. I run past the windows of the tower where my grandson, little Henry, watches with hollow eyes. I cannot take him with me, not yet, but I will leave a trail of red that leads straight to the king's throat. Henry Tudor killed my brother, he killed my son, he keeps my grandchild in a cage, he thinks he has ended the White Rose today. But as I duck behind the shadows of the chapel and the rebel executioner tosses a hooded stranger's corpse onto the block to be hacked to pieces, I am finally free. Margaret Pole is dead, and now the nurse begins her work. Chapter 2. The Nurse's Mercy. I almost had him. For 3 months I lived in the damp cellars of the East End, watching the rebel signals. We had the boy, my little Henry, out of the tower and onto a barge bound for the Channel. I could almost taste the salt air of Rome. I could almost feel his small hand in mine. But the king's eyes are everywhere, even when they are clouded with cataracts and pain. They caught the barge at Gravesend. They didn't know I was alive, but they knew the boy was a threat. Henry didn't hesitate. He didn't even see the child's face before he signed the warrant. My grandson was executed in the mud of a riverbank, a nameless traitor to a dying king. That was the night the last of the old Margaret died. I don't want a quiet life in Rome anymore. I want the Tudor line to wither like the skin on Henry's legs. Now I stand at his bedside in Whitehall. I am Sister Martha now, a silent woman of the shadows with a talent for dressing the foul, weeping ulcers that keep the king screaming through the night. The doctors are baffled. They use mercury and lead. I use something much older. I dip the linen into a poultice of monkshood and belladonna. In small doses it numbs the pain. It makes him trust me. He calls me his gentle angel. He doesn't see the way my hands tremble. Not with fear, but with the urge to wrap them around his throat. But a quick death is too kind for the man who killed a child in the mud. Every night, as I wrap his legs, the poison seeps through his skin, entering his blood, inching toward his heart. It will take months. He will feel his mind slip. He will see ghosts in the tapestries, and when he is finally truly broken, I will tell him who tucked him into his deathbed. Sleep now, my king. Tomorrow I bring a gift for Prince Edward. Chapter 3. The King's Last Confession. January 1547. Whitehall is a tomb. The king is a mountain of rotting flesh, his breath a foul wind that scares away even his bravest knights. But I do not pull away. I lean into the stench. I have spent years waiting for this frostbitten night. He is delirious now. The belladonna in his wine has opened the door to his nightmares. He calls out for Jane, for Anne, even for me. He begs for a priest. I pull back my hood. For the first time in 6 years, I let the candlelight hit my face. I am no longer Sister Martha. I am the white rose he thought he crushed in the mud. "Look at me, Henry," I whisper. His eyes, yellowed and unfocused, finally snap to mine. The recognition is like a physical blow. He tries to scream, but his lungs are full of the fluid my tonics have placed there. He can only manage a wet, rattling gasp. I am the ghost you made, I tell him, but I am flesh and bone. I watched you sign the warrant for my grandson. I watched you steal the last of my blood. And now I have stolen yours. I lean closer, my lips inches from his ear. Do not worry about the crown, Henry. It will not stay with Edward for long. The same medicine that brings you peace tonight is already waiting for him. Your son is sickly, is he not? He will not see his 20th year. I will be the last face he sees, just as I am yours. He fights then, a dying lion's last claw at the air. He tries to call for his guards, for Sir Anthony Denny, for anyone, but the door is bolted, and the world believes their king is simply raving in his final madness. I watch the light leave his eyes. I do not feel joy. I only feel a cold, hollow justice. I slip out before the dawn. Henry is dead, but the work is not finished. Edward is king now, a boy of 9 surrounded by a wall of steel. His protectors are many, and my sister Martha has been seen too often at Whitehall. I must retreat. I must wait. I have outlived the father. I can outlive the son. I will wait until he is a man, until the crown is heavy on his head. And then I will return to finish the Tudor line. Chapter 4. The Linen Shroud. I have traded my pearls for lie and my titles for the stench of boiling water. For 6 years I have lived in the steam and the shadows, my hands raw and red. They call me Goody Mags. They see a bent old woman hauling baskets of laundry through the back halls of Greenwich, a creature too lowly to be noticed by the shimmering courtiers. They do not know that every drop of sweat I lose is a prayer for their destruction. I do not think of Reginald often. To think of him is to feel a sickness that belladonna cannot cure. He sits in Rome, safe in his robes, playing at being a holy man while the boy he should have protected, his own nephew, was murdered in the mud. He is my son only in name. Once Edward is in the earth, I will cross the sea. I will find him in his marble palace, and I will show him the hands of the mother he abandoned. I will strike the holiness from his face and let him see the monster he made. But first, the king. The young King Edward is fragile, a pale ghost of the man who sired him. He is too well guarded for a nurse to get close, but a laundry woman. We are the ghosts of the palace. In the quiet of the wash-house, I have prepared a special solution. It is colourless, odourless, distilled from the roots of the water hemlock. As I starch the king's fine linen sheets, I soak them in the poison. Every night, as the boy sleeps, his skin will drink it in. Every time he sweats from his fever, the toxin will bite deeper into his pores. I am wrapping him in his own shroud while he still breathes. I saw him today, carried through the gallery. He looks at me and sees nothing. He does not know that the woman bowing in the corner is the same one who whispered in his father's ear. He does not know that the very bed that offers him rest is the engine of his end. The Tudor line began with a battle on a field. It will end in the laundry room of a dying palace. Chapter 5. The Silent Matriarch. July 1553. The air in Greenwich is thick with the scent of summer and the stench of decay. Edward is dying. I look at my hands, red, cracked and stained with the poisons I have brewed. I wonder how I am still standing. Perhaps the toxins did not take me because my fury acted as a shield, a divine right to see the Tudor root rot. But as I stand in the shadows of the king's bedchamber and hear the boy's thin, rattling cough, the avenger in me vanishes. I do not see the son of Henry. I see a child. I see a young innocent like my grandbaby, gasping for a breath I was stealing from him. I do not delight in his failing health. I am filled with a grief that drowns my hate. I burn the poisoned linens. I wash his sheets in pure, clear water, trying to pull the venom back from his pores. But I have waited too long. The damage is done. I have killed a boy who never asked for his father's crown. I let the hate for Reginald drift away like smoke. He is not worth my touch, let alone a slap in Rome. He is just a man in a red robe who has forgotten what it means to be a son. My soul ties were severed with the death of my grandbaby, and I leave Reginald to his marble silence. Jane Grey tries to steal the crown. My old allies, the men who helped me break 2 kings, come to me with dark eyes. They want the angry old woman to do to Jane what I did to Edward. But I turn away. I will not break another child. I have spilled enough innocent blood to fill the Thames. Then the news comes like a sunburst. Mary is marching, and beside her, holding her hand in iron defiance, is Elizabeth. My girls, the lions I helped raise. I hate the grandfather who took my brother. I hate the father who took my son. But these women, they are the best of my heart. Elizabeth is a bastard, yes, born of a heretic and a whore who stole a crown. But she is a child who was destroyed by the same monster I fought. Henry took her mother, and she survived. Seeing them united, my heart fills with a pride that finally washes away the poison. England is restored. Mary sits upon the throne, and the Latin Mass rings out from the steeples once more. I am a nameless old woman in a tattered shawl. I have no titles. I have no family who can look me in the eye. But as I go home to a quiet corner of England, I feel a strange, quiet peace. I am Margaret Plantagenet. My soul is not damned, it is simply tired. And finally, it is at rest. Chapter 6. The Gardener of Souls. The world thinks I am a martyr. They have carved my name in stone and painted my face in prayer books, a holy victim of a tyrant's whim. Let them have their stories. I have found my own truth in the soil of this convent garden. I spend my days with the herbs, the mint for the sick, the rosemary for remembrance, and the hemlock, which I keep only to remember the woman I once was. I bake bread for the poor and teach the novices how to stitch a straight seam. In the quiet rhythm of the nunnery, I have finally found a way to be Margaret again. But there was one final debt to pay. I sent a letter to Rome. I did not sign it with a title. I signed it Mother. I told Reginald everything. I told him of the bladders of sheep's blood on the block. I told him of the laundry rooms and the poisoned linens. I told him that while he sat in his velvet chair, I was in the mud doing the work he was too cowardly to do. I told him I hated the man he became, and that the mother he sacrificed died a long time ago. Far away in a marble palace, a cardinal's hands tremble. He knows my handwriting. He feels a single sharp sting of shame, a ghost of the boy I once loved. But his ego is a vast, cold thing. He burns the paper. He cannot let the world know his mother is a vengeful shadow. He needs me to be a blessed martyr, to keep his own power secure. He erases my words, but he can never erase the fact that I am out there. The nights are the hardest. When the candles burn low, I weep. I cry for my brother, for my sons, and for my little Henry. I even cry for the boy King Edward, whose ghost sits at the foot of my bed with forgiveness in his eyes. But I never cry for Henry Tudor, not a single tear. I am beyond an old woman now, and my work is done. Mary is safe, the faith is restored, and here, among the roses and the flower, I am finally, truly at peace.